Hey guys, thanks for joining us today. Today we have Kylie Ryan, who is a NLP lecturer and a mindset coach. Thanks for joining us today, Kylie.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
I'll just start by getting you to give us a little bit of a background about your history in terms of getting into mindset coaching and NLP as well.
Yeah, cool. I started with NLP 13 years ago, just then. The classic accidental hero. It actually was an accident. My friend was my singing teacher, and she got involved in NLP, and she was like, "Oh my God, I need someone to practice on," and I was her singing student at the time, and so we started doing some NLP processes together. And at the time, I was 30 kilos heavier than I am now, probably a little bit more. I was partying like a crazy person and, drinking, drugs, the whole bit, heaps of very short relationships, you might say, wondering, what was going on with that and in debt and all of the stuff that, just my life was, when you tick it off, it's like all of the train wreck signs basically were right there for me. And so I was happy, I was drinking, I was partying. I didn't think there was anything I wasn't, devastated about it. So I wasn't really looking back. And NLP found me. And it was amazing though, when we started digging into my unconscious mind, I found that I had all these beliefs about being unworthy and that I would end up as some old cat lady and never find love and all of that stuff. And so we never even talked about my weight or anything. We used a couple of processes to clear those kinds of really deep-seated self-worth beliefs, real deep limiting beliefs. And over the course of the year after that, it was so funny. After that first session, those old movies, how they're in black and white and then they go to color and you're like, whoa, that's amazing. That was what my life was like after that first session. I was I walked out of the her place and I was like, holy shit, how long has this been going on for? Luckily, my life and turned in. And so after, a year after that, I did a few more sessions with her and then I was like, this is awesome. I need to learn it. And so I did the practitioner training, and then later in the year I did the master practitioner training as well. And so in that year I lost 30 kilos. I stopped partying so much. I got off drugs. I stopped drinking. I paid off 20 grand's worth of student debt. I started my own little basic life coaching kind of business with my friends and family. And I started singing professionally, which was one of my other passions and hobbies. And I found the man who's now my husband, who we started a band together at that time. So it was my life had been shot out of a cannon. And so, suddenly all these things that I had been secretly dreaming of for years and never thought would ever come true, I was ticking them off left, right and center. And I was hooked ever since. And so then fast forward 13 years, we've got 2 kids and I've just been basically addicted to learning everything I possibly can about behavior change, positive psychology, and, optimizing human performance. And so I've built a business around weight loss mindset coaching and, had some great results with that. And that's kind of the short version.
Yeah, okay, cool. I guess in terms of that, what is mindset coaching then?
What is mindset coaching? To differentiate from life coaching, because not many people, at first when you initially talk to them, not many people know specifically what NLP is, or they might have some old school ideas about NLP. NLP got a bit of a bad rap in the 80s for being a hardcore selling technique, and so some people have a bit of their own ideas about what it is, and it's not necessarily accurate. So I would say I'm a mindset coach because it's much more in depth than a traditional life coach, where you might talk generally about a whole bunch of things and be more about helping them with goal setting and helping them with accountability. And, you know, I think of a life coach as more like a personal trainer for your life. Basically, it's like, come and let's do the reps and I'll help you with your goals and that type of thing. Whereas I'm a mindset coach. I help people to transform at their unconscious level so that they don't need anybody chasing them. Did you do this? Did you do that? They're accountable to themselves and they're making those lasting life changes. So yeah, so I'm really dealing with those deep unconscious beliefs. I'm helping people with hypnosis, and so I talk about it as a mindset coach because of that differentiation.
Yeah, awesome. I guess then, what's the difference between the subconscious and the conscious thought processes then?
Yeah, nice. So conscious and unconscious is a metaphor, right? We have a brain, we have a mind, and, you know, as we met with Dr. Garoli, and Dr. Garoli said that the mind is not just what's in the brain, it's just like the brain is a part of the mind. And that's a key differential. So we use the term conscious and subconscious or unconscious to differentiate the things that you're doing or that you're aware that you're thinking, and the things that you're unaware that you're thinking. So you think about the chatter that you've got going on in your head. You know, maybe you have certain ideas about, you know, as you're watching this video, you're like, oh, this is very interesting, or wonder what's going on with that, or thinking about things consciously in your mind. Oh, I've got to pick up, the kids after school, or what am I going to make for dinner, or I need to go buy some broccoli. Whatever that is, that's conscious thinking. But we have a whole bunch of unconscious thought patterns that are running the show, really. And so the differential is like, basically less than 10% is your conscious, what your conscious awareness is, and a whopping 90% of your kind of brain power, or what your mind is doing, is unconscious. You're not aware of what's going on, and it's just like going on in the background. And so it's kind of like a really fun metaphor is the idea of like riding an elephant. So your conscious mind is like the little rider on the top, and your unconscious mind is the elephant. And so you can either coerce the elephant, or you can beat the elephant, or you can entice the elephant to go somewhere that you want to go. But if the elephant doesn't want to go where you want to go, there's not much you can do. You could beat it, but it's still going to go where it wants to go. And that's your unconscious mind. And that's the problem with willpower, because willpower is like beating your elephant. I'm going to make you go where I want you to go. But if it really doesn't want to go there, then, you're not going to get it to go there. And so we need to work with your unconscious mind so that it actually wants to go where you consciously want to go.
Yeah, 100%. I guess that's just it's the difference between focusing on like the underlying beliefs comparative to the actions people are taking. Is that right?
Exactly. Yeah. So what you're conscious of are the things that you're doing, the things that you're saying to yourself. Maybe the words that you're saying while you're doing this, the types of things, like whether you tend to be more of a whingy person or more of a grateful person. Those types of things are things that you can be consciously aware of. But what's happening at the unconscious level is like, it's like kind of being under the surface of some murky water, because you don't know what's down there until you like reach down and start feeling around. So how those things show up though is like, if you're thinking about a river with, a muddy river, then that river could have a current underneath it, and you may not necessarily see that on the surface. But, when you stick your hand in to try and get something, then you could get pulled along. And what happens with your unconscious mind is that you have all these unconscious programming. It's like your software for your mind. And if your software is out of date, then you're going to struggle to do the things that you want to do, even if you are dedicated and positive and grateful and doing your affirmations and doing your journaling and, watching positive videos on YouTube and, reading your goals every day, you can consciously be really positive, but if unconsciously you believe that being successful is unsafe, or being slim is unsafe, that ruin your marriage if you become slim, because then you'd lose all of your friends because they're all fat with you and you like to go out and drink beer and have pizza together. Like if you deeply and unconsciously believe that what your goal is something that is going to be something that's going to cause you pain in some way, then no matter how many times you set the goal, no matter how many times you visualize or do affirmations, you're not going to get there. Or you'll get there and then you'll injure yourself, or you'll get there and then you'll have some accident happen and you'll be straight back to where you started. And that's the power of working with the unconscious mind.
Yeah, awesome. Can you go into a little bit more detail about the importance of feeling safe then?
Yeah, nice. Okay, so your unconscious, that's one of your unconscious mind's prime directives. It's like one of the number one rules. Keep the body safe, preserve the body is like rule number one for the unconscious mind. So, you know yourself, if you've ever been in a close call, like nearly had a car accident or something, and you're like, whoa, suddenly you're on high alert and there's adrenaline pumping through your system, and it's almost like if you've ever been in one of those accidents where it's like really you nearly hit them, or like you spin out your car or something, then it's like time slowing waves go into overdrive so that you've got the time to do what you need to keep your body safe. And so that's your unconscious mind taking over there and shifting your brain waves like right up into gamma so that it's over processing, so that it seems like time slows down so that you can do what you need to keep safe. Or if you've ever, been about to cross the road or been on your phone and you like suddenly look up and like you're about to step in front of a bus or something, and you didn't consciously notice that, but something was aware of that and something alerted you to, oh, hey, don't go out there, you're going to get run over. So that's your unconscious mind. It's constantly processing all of the information that comes through your five senses and also your extrasensory perception, which goes a bit beyond discuss here today. But your unconscious mind processes heaps and heaps and heaps of information, 2 million bits of information every second, and its prime goal is to keep you safe. And so if you have this belief, like we're talking to trainers who are working probably with weight loss clients, and that's like the number one client of a personal trainer. What I've found from working 13 years with weight loss after my own weight loss story is that clients will often have negative associations with the goal that they say that they want, and they do genuinely want it, but they might have a negative association with that. So I'll give you some examples. So one client, actually this could be the story of 100 clients that I've worked with, right? Like we talked about before, that if I become slim, then I might, grow apart from my husband, because my husband likes to, eat pizza with me every night and have ice cream together, and that's our part of our love and connection, is hanging out over junk food. And so then if I become slim and I'm not doing that anymore, then I'm going to grow apart from my partner. And so if that connection is a really important connection, which it probably is, then that's going to create a level of being unsafe, because then it might ruin your marriage, it might, damage your kids, it might have all of these negative consequences by you stepping up in life and becoming slim and living the life that you want, because your family and your friends might not come with you. And so that's a really common thing that people face. And, getting that family on side is important. Like, that's the conscious way of dealing with it. Let's get everybody involved and let's all do it together. But the deeper need is dealing with that fear of change, that fear of, and it's like the lizard brain, that part that back in the kind of primal aspect of your brain that's like keep safe, stay in the cave, don't get eaten by a bear. There's that part of your mind that just wants to keep you safe. And that's what your unconscious is. And it might see a divorce as the big bear that's going to come and get you, or, someone judging you while you're at the gym. I can't go to the gym because that's where all the skinny people go. So I need to be skinny before I go to the gym to train because I don't fit into all of the pretty activewear like all the other pretty people at the gym. Like, people are going to judge me. That's another thing that like keeps you in the cave. Or another one that's huge that is kind of not very commonly talked about, but you might have come across it in personal training sessions with clients, is that they have like past trauma. Like one in 3 women statistically have faced some kind of situation where they've felt attacked, or they've been abused, or they've had sexual harassment, or felt unsafe in their bodies with unwanted attention, whether that be from men or women or bosses or partners or whatever it is. And so then the more attractive you get, it creates this between, I'm unsafe. When I'm attractive, that type of thing is more likely to happen to me. You watch the news and you see, women dying from domestic violence, and that's not to say it doesn't happen to men too, but predominantly this is the facts. Those types of things that pretty women or slim women, attractive women become more of a target for that type of thing. And so this creates this belief in your unconscious mind, if I become more attractive or more visible, then I'll be less safe. And this is a really deep-seated type of issue that when you face it and when you deal with it and when you clear it, like, people can make huge changes in their body, because then they realize, that they start to think more rationally about it, that, if I'm healthy and fit and strong, then I could, even if worse came to worse, I could fight off an attacker because I'd be healthier and fitter and stronger. But, that's an unrealistic, it's an irrational fear that's based on, cultural conditioning and that type of thing. And so when someone has that type of victim mindset, then it's dealing with that victim mindset so that it's not negatively impacting all those other choices that they're making.
Yeah. Can you elaborate a little bit more on your victim mindset?
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so the victim mindset, we can go way deep on this. Okay, so the victim set is related to this. There's a triangle, in case you can't imagine what a triangle looks like. The drama triangle. The drama triangle is this connection between these 3 archetypes that exist in all relationships. So the drama triangle is the victim, the aggressor or the bully, and the rescuer. And so this, you'll recognize this yourself in your own family relationships, like, maybe with a sibling or something, like he hit me and where, so-and-so hit me, he took my toy, he's broken my thing, and then mum comes in and goes, don't do that, separate you out. So, if you've ever been a kid with a sibling, you will remember the drama triangle in that capacity. Like, that's the most kind of obvious thing. On a really huge, national across the globe, then we've got the wars that are happening in like Syria and Afghanistan. There's the victims, there's the aggressors, and then there's the rescuers, the like soldiers and the UN and all these people that are coming in to help people out. And you might notice yourself that when you're going through a drama, then you might feel like, someone's taking something from you, or someone's bullying you or picking on you, or you are trying to rescue someone or help someone out. Very rarely do people associate themselves with being the aggressor or being the bully. But the fact is, if you're being one of those archetypes in the drama, you're simultaneously being all of the other types as well. You're playing all 3 roles simultaneously. And so that might be that if you take it for one person just inside themselves without any relationship to anyone else, I'm feeling like a victim because Cody said I have to go and do like 300 burpees tomorrow, and I'm feeling like a victim because I don't want to do it, and I hate burpees, right? I'm feeling like a victim. So I want to rescue myself by saying, oh, he doesn't know what he's talking about. I don't need to do that many. I don't really want to get skinny that soon anyway. And so then I will rescue myself by skipping out on the session that I've agreed to. And I might rescue myself with a nice like cupcake or a piece of chocolate or something. And then by rescuing myself, I'm being the aggressor to myself by putting in calories and things that I don't need, putting in things that I don't need into my body, and then beating myself up about it afterwards because I let myself down, I let you down, I let my body down. And so that's such a victim because I've been mean to myself, and then the cycle starts all over again. So the victim mindset is something that we all face. Like it's very easy to say, oh, they're a victim out there. And it's not so easy to say, oh, there are times where I'm the victim as well. There are times where I act like a victim, or there are times where I want to rescue people and then become victimized through jumping into that cycle. So when someone's in that cycle, then they're always looking at other people to blame. Like, I'm blaming my personal trainer that's making me do something that I don't want to do. Or I'm blaming, oh, that muffin over there that just was calling out my name. I didn't have any control over it. It just fell into my mouth. They're not taking responsibility. Or, even if you're in the aggressor, it's like, everybody's such dickheads, or they need to do things right, and I need to tell them what to do, and I need to show them the right way to do things. That's like the aggressor. So it's all putting the power outside of yourself. And when like the key to shifting it is to start by like it's such a simple fix that people miss it. And the trick to solving it is to step outside of that role by observing yourself doing that role. It's like an ancient consciousness technique of going meta to that role. So when you see yourself being a victim, it's like, this is me in my victim mindset. Then the minute that you go, oh, actually I'm being really whingy now, or I'm blaming people, I don't feel like doing what I've committed to doing, I want to like weasel out of it. Then you go, this is the victim behavior over here, and I am now observing that behavior in myself. So then it becomes, there's a separation, there's a gap there between the victim behavior and me. So the minute that there becomes a separation between that behavior that I don't like in myself and the me that's over here, now I have a choice. Now I have a choice about what behavior that I want to take, what behavior that I want to do. And while you're in that behavior, then it's like you're wearing that clothes, you're wearing that archetype, you're wearing those thoughts. And so it feels like it's impossible while you're inside the victim space. It's like, I can't do it because all of the power is outside of myself, and I need my personal trainer to call me up and take me through the exercises, or I need my husband to come and mind my kids because I can't do it, whatever it is, whatever the story is. When you're inside the victim, things feel impossible, and you want to be rescued. You want someone to come and rescue you because you don't feel like you have the power yourself. But the minute that you observe that victim behavior, then you can go, oh, there's the times where I'm feeling like that. And instead of judging yourself and going, oh, you're such a dickhead for being a victim, like instead of being the aggressor to yourself and going, no, you're such like loser, boo, 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 that's still inside the drama cycle, right? You're just jumping from the victim into the aggressor. So we can't do that. We want to jump outside of the entire cycle. So we jump outside and go, oh, where was I being the victim? Where was I being the aggressor? Where was I being the rescuer? Or where was I looking to be rescued? And observe all of those archetypes. And then from back here, you can go, I can see that drama playing out. now I remember that I have a choice. I just accept it and go, okay, well, that's the drama. Everybody does it from time to time. That's okay. Now I have a choice to go in a different direction. And that's hugely powerful. Like, I've been teaching that for years, and it comes from a transactional psychoanalysis model, and it's amazing. And just knowing that and being able to observe that within yourself is hugely transformational, because then you can shift into the empowerment cycle of being the creator of your life. When you feel like you want to change out of being an aggressor or rescuing yourself, you want to coach yourself through it. And then when you're feeling like things need to change, then you can also challenge yourself to, higher and higher levels of performance and self-expression and all of that. So, yeah, that's the victim and all the other bits.
Okay, cool. In terms of that as well, I think you go into a bit of detail about like observing your ego as well.
Yeah, cool.
So, can you explain like what is the ego? A lot of people don't understand that.
Yeah, nice. So the ego is a term. It's not the ego is really popular, like a pop psychology kind of understanding of what goes on. And so the ego can kind of be related to your conscious mind. And that's like the part of you that has goals and has drives and is your self-identity. It's like, this is me. My ego is like the shell of who I am, and the goals and the ambitions that I have and the drive that I have. And when I become too overly identified with myself, this is going to go a bit deep. When I become too over with then I feel like when you're totally identified with your ego, then your ego always feels like something is missing, because the ego thrives on separation. It thrives on the fact that I am me and you are you. It's all about identification, like we're separate people. And at the level of the ego, we're like two people over here. But at the deepest level of like quantum physics and consciousness, then you and me and all of the other people on the planet are like waves in the ocean. And so it's like one wave saying, hey, I'm different from you, and the other wave saying, hey, I'm different from you, I'm a different person. But really, we're all part of the same ocean. And so when you're thinking at like the peak of the wave and you're at that ego level of consciousness, you feel like something's missing. You're really missing, because it's like you're constantly searching for that wholeness, because the wholeness that you're searching for is in those deeper levels of connectedness with other human beings and then all other, life on the planet and life itself. And so at that ego level, then there's always this sense of seeking and searching and wanting and desiring. And that's where ego can be awesome for getting us to do stuff and creating change. And like, I'm not about saying that the ego is bad. In every instance, there's positive and negative. So the ego can make you do amazing things because it gives you that identity and it helps you to be ambitious and get stuff done. 100%. The negative side of the ego is that wanting, that kind of endless desire, that no matter how much you fulfill it, it constantly wants more. So money, then you get, a great relationship, then you want an even better relationship and you want it to get better and better. If you have a business, then you want to grow a bigger business and serve more people and have all of this stuff. On the really negative side, if you're fulfilling yourself through food, then you want more food and more food and more food, because that becomes your way of fulfilling yourself and trying to meet that need from the ego level. And so how to escape that is to again step back and go, oh, that's ego over there, and remembering then that I'm not just myself over here as a separate being from everybody else. I'm actually a part of the connective of life. I'm a part of the presence of life. And the ego actually can't exist without time. So the ego is all about the stories of the past that make me who I am. Like my identity is about the stories that I've told myself in the past. This is like, I'm a mum and I used to be a professional singer and I used to be this and I used to be that and this is who I am and I met you, a couple of weeks ago, and there's all these stories that make me who I am. But if I didn't have any memory of that past, if that past was actually like deleted, like Snapchat, if it was instantly deleted after a few minutes, then you would be in the present moment and that history would all be gone and we wouldn't have a sense of identity because we wouldn't have any history. So the ego is really driven by time and is really related to time. And so a really great spiritual teacher, Eckhart Tolle, talks about the power of now, and it's that moment, it's coming back into the present moment. Because when we really drop into the present moment and just be in this moment, like this moment that we're talking to each other, then and really drop into it and allow ourselves to be fully present where nothing else exists, then we can start to feel into the interconnectedness that exists between me as a living expression of consciousness and you as a living expression of consciousness and whoever else is watching this right now or in the replay as a living expression of consciousness. Like we're all connected at that deep, deep, deep level, like at the bottom. But you can't remember that while you're in the stories of time, of struggle, of this is me and there's a separation and I have this goal that I want to reach, and because the ego is always about getting things in the future or remembering or worrying about things from the past, and that's how it identifies itself.
Yeah. Okay, cool. One of the concepts that you talked about is the difference between disempowering frame of references compared to empowering frame of references. How do you define the distinctions between those two, and then how can we potentially help clients move from disempowering to empowering frame of reference?
Yeah, nice. So a disempowering frame of reference, or a switch it to an empowering frame of reference. Okay, so a frame of reference is just a way that you're perceiving the world, just for everyone so that we're all on the same page. So a frame of reference is like, this is the lens that I'm seeing the world through. Like, and I can be looking through, muddy, murky coloured glasses, and that's my frame of reference. Like the world, and then that frame of reference, like the muddy murkiness, might be certain belief patterns that are based on maybe past experience or things that have been told to us or traumas that we've experienced. And so a shitty, disempowering frame of reference might be something like the world is an unsafe place, things are out to get me, people steal my money, I can't lose weight, it's all really hard, I don't have any power, it's hard to make money, those types of disempowering frames. So when you're looking at the world through those lenses, that is what you experience in life. So your lenses become your experience because your brain works by filtering things according to your beliefs. So if you have the belief that the world is an unsafe place, then you will look through that lens and you will only see experiences and You only see experiences and other people and relationships that fit with that belief. And all of the stuff that doesn't fit with that belief will get distorted, deleted, or just, discarded. So those experiences of life being friendly exist, but when you have this belief that life is unfriendly, then you won't notice it. And it's just to do with the way that your brain works. Like you can't take in all of the data that exists around you at any one time. You'd go insane. Your brain would explode because there's just way too much data. And so your brain, and it filters it down to like, what it thinks is important for you. And what it thinks is important for you is based on your beliefs. So when you're looking through this negative frame of reference of like losing weight is hard, I can't do it, I'm struggling, being on a diet really sucks, I never get any results, it's really hard, why bother? That type of negative chatter. And people's frame of references, people's belief systems show up in their language. It shows up in the words that they say in your client session. That when they're saying things like, oh, so hard, I can't do this, I can't make this, oh, I'm never going to lose weight. You're like, oh, negative frame of reference there, negative mindset. And so what you do with that, and it's tricky, like, with someone like me or, like you doing some mindset coaching stuff, then we would go into dealing with those particular things and really rewiring that at a neurological level. In a personal training session, then you don't really have the capacity to do that, but you can do a lot. You can do a lot to really help someone shift their mindset. And the first step is, you'll hear a pattern here. The first step is observing it. So, oh my goodness, we observe the pattern. And so when you observe it in your client, then the best thing you can do is, without judgment, without becoming an aggressor and stepping into drama, you just like really compassionately and with love, and knowing that you can see that they have capability that goes way beyond what they're currently giving themselves credit for. When you believe in them so much, you go, you can do it. You really can. And did you notice that you just said, it's really hard and I can't do it and I'm never going to lose weight? Like, just feeding those words back to your client in their own words, not summarizing it and going, hey, did you notice you've got this negative mindset? Because that's a judgment. We want to just really compassionately and with an open heart feed back to them the exact words that they've said. Hey, Cody, I heard you say, just then, it's really hard and I don't think I'm going to get results. And then you just kind of wait, give them a pause so that they can digest and really hear what they've said. And then go, like, I wonder what you think about that. Like, is that the type of mindset that's really going to help us get the results that we want? And just with heaps of compassion, with no judgment, just really going, like, I really believe that you can get results and it is possible for you to do it. And I've had heaps of clients just like you. You can tell them testimonial stories. I had a client just like you the other day who was thinking the same thing, and they did X, Y, Z, and now they've done, they've lost 10 kilos and they've just run a marathon. And like, I see that for you too. That kind of positive, empowering story where you can say, hey, I observe this mindset in you and it is possible. And so in a personal training session, it's really about holding the space of belief for your client that is like, your certainty in their ability needs to be stronger than their certainty in their ability to fail. I'll say that again because it's important. Your certainty in their ability to succeed and your belief in them and your care for them needs to be stronger than their belief in their ability to fail, in their ability to let themselves down. And so if you come from that place of care, if you come from that place of care and compassion with your clients where you really, really believe in them, then, you know, that care is going to come through. And so then it's really just about helping them to observe their mindset so that they can start to make some changes to that. And it's kind of like, it's just like being a mirror, right? Like if you walk around with, you've got something in your teeth all day, or you've got like weird hair, and you're walking around all day and you never pass a mirror and walked around all day with something on your teeth and weird hair. But the minute that you step in front of a mirror and you see like, oh, my hair's all weird and I've got something in my teeth, you'll fix it. You'll fix it because you notice it that, oh, this isn't what I want to be. And most people don't notice what they're saying to themselves. They don't notice their mindset because they don't have a mirror. They don't have a mirror. And if you can be a really clear, clean mirror for them, without drama, without judgment, if you can be a really clean mirror and just say, hey, I really believe in you, and I've noticed that you've said 3 times in this session, oh, it's really hard. I'm really struggling with this. Like, what do you think about that? When you hear yourself say that, what comes up for you? Just kind of asking them, what are they? And they'll be like, maybe that's not very good. And they will then be able to change, because what you're doing is bringing to their conscious awareness something that's unconscious. Because that idea that it's too hard, that they're going to fail, or they're going to lose, they're not going to be able to lose weight, or they can't do that, is an unconscious belief. And it's showing up in their speech, but they don't hear it. They don't hear it. They don't hear themselves saying that negative stuff. They might have a feeling of, oh, I'm being a bit whingy, but they don't hear the specifics of that belief. They don't hear the specifics. And when you can really be a clean mirror and say, hey, I heard you say this, or I've observed you when you go to run, then you always like jump off before the last minute. I wonder what's up with that. Like, do you want to be the type of person that jumps off right, when we're hitting the finish line? Like, see, that's the way that a really great personal trainer could approach mindset work with a client in a session while you're doing lunges, while you're on the treadmill, while you're, doing box jumps or whatever it is that you're doing with them. You can bring that element of mindset of just being a mirror for them. You can bring it into your session and it will make it so much more powerful.
Yeah, 100% agree. And with my online coaching as well, it's really powerful because they have to write physically in email, so that I can basically just highlight certain phrases they use that are basically disempowering, like, I can't do this, or I feel like I'm just getting bad at all of these things. You can basically just highlight that and say, all right, well, this is the terminology that you're currently using. Is that empowering for you? Is that going to help you get your long-term results, or is that something like a frame of reference that is going to be limiting for you going forward? So do you find that as...
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great first step with coaching, is just to be that mirror. And another kind of a process that you could use in at a personal trainer level of coaching is kind of using there's a whole bunch of like earthworks going on outside of my apartment right now. If you can hear it, that's what's going on. Is using the turnaround series of questions from Byron Katie's The Work. So useful. It's super useful. And so it goes like this. You observe the belief, like, oh, so I've noticed you saying it's too hard, or I can't lose weight, or I can't do this. And so you go, oh, great, I observed this belief. That's the belief. And so you go, is this belief serving you? Is this belief helping you to get where you want to go? And just so then we're observing it, right? The belief's over here. And you go, oh, there's this belief that you're looking at the world through. Is this helping or is this not helping? And that's the first step, because then they go, oh, that's actually not helping. It's not helping me to be positive or empowered or helping me to get the result. And then you go, so who would you be if you didn't have this belief? If you didn't have this belief, who would you have? What options would open up for you if you didn't have this belief? And they go, oh, I'd be more positive, I'd be more optimistic, I'd be more blah, 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 whatever it is. And then you go, okay, so if you'd be more optimistic, this belief isn't serving you, and you'd be more optimistic and more positive and get more done without this belief, then what's the opposite of that belief? If that's the belief that's holding you back, then what's the direct opposite? So we're looking for like black and white, like we've got this yin yang vibe happening here. Like if that's the yang, then we're looking for the yin. What's the direct opposite? So if the belief is I can't lose weight, well, the opposite belief would be I can lose weight. I can, I can do this. And then you go, so give me 3 examples of things that correlate with that belief, that support that belief, that opposite belief. I can lose weight. And so then you get them to search through their mind and through their history of times where they have lost weight or they have, shifted something. And so then they're looking for evidence that that opposite belief is true. And at the very basic level, it can neutralize the first belief. And in the best case scenario, they would then go, oh, I actually can lose weight. And it completely neutralizes the old belief and can install a positive belief. So sometimes it takes a little bit more to shift a belief like that. But that's a really great first step of a series of questions that you could ask in the training session. Just work it into the conversation and can help them to actually shift at that mindset level. So what's the belief? Who would you be without this belief? Oh, I'd be much better off without this belief. What's the opposite of that belief? What's the direct opposite? And what are the examples or the evidence that the opposite belief is at least as true or maybe even truer than the original, like, faulty or flawed belief? So you want to get that level, and the more evidence that they can have that the opposite positive belief is true, the more it's going to overwrite that negative belief. So that's a really simple and powerful series of questions that trainers could be starting to use right now without any other mindset coaching, understanding or certifications that could start to get them better results with their clients straight away.
Yeah, 100%. It comes down to very much that justification of the reasoning behind it. So what I try and get people to do is always use the word because if then they start to justify in their brain why this new frame of reference is going to be more empowering for them, and it justifies to them and just becomes such a stronger pathway in their brain to basically move forward with that new frame of reference. In terms of that, can you talk a little bit about...
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, can't lose weight because... Was that?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Can you talk a little bit about the psychology of, like, cravings for people? That's something that a lot of personal trainers and clients deal with a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so cravings come about as a survival mechanism to deal with internal pain. Cravings, because there's heaps, like I've been working with cravings for clients for years, and I once wrote down, I surveyed my clients and what are all the reasons that you eat, or what are all the emotions that cause you to eat? And it was I eat because I'm bored, I eat because I'm happy, I eat because I'm sad, I eat because I'm lonely, I eat when I'm with friends, I eat, I eat when I've had a celebration, I eat when I haven't won and I'm commiserating with myself. So these possible variations of life experiences all can, if you're in that mindset of emotional eating, any emotion can cause you eat. Happy emotions like birthday cake, or negative emotions like drinking at the pub with your mates because you've just lost all your money at the races. So any type of situation or any type of emotion can cause you to eat when you're in that cycle. And it's an understanding that the emotion or the inner pain is what's causing that craving. So there's this homeostasis or equilibrium that happens between pleasure and pain in the body. So when you're feeling pain on the inside your body, then you're going to look for pleasure outside of your body to bring into your body to help bring you back into balance. Does that make sense? So if you're subpar inside your body, and that subpar might be emotional pain or physical pain or the pain of not having enough sleep last night or the pain of an injury, any kind of inner pain can cause you to then try and bring pleasure into your body to bring yourself back into equilibrium. And so that pleasure might be, sitting on the couch and watching Netflix. It might be having a muffin. It might be, you know, going and scrolling on Facebook. It might be online. It might be drinking. It might be drugs. Any of the external pleasures that we can bring into our body to try and bring ourselves back into balance. So it's a survival cycle that keeps us stuck, because the minute that we do those things, then, you know, the gratification is only ever very short-lived, and then it comes with guilt and frustration and self-loathing, and it kind of creates this negative spiral of, you know, badness, basically. And then the opposite side of the scale is when we feel good on the inside. And so this is where, like, most clients tend to fall the majority of their time, like clients that are struggling, tend to fall the majority of their time in that survival cycle side of things. And then most trainers, not always, but most trainers tend to be on the opposite side of the scale, where you're feeling really good on the inside, you feel empowered, you feel strong, you're happy and healthy and fit. And so when you're feeling pleasure inside your body, then you're more easily able to look for pain or challenge outside of yourself. So when you're feeling pleasure inside, you can look for pain, because pain is pushing you past your thresholds. It's stretching your comfort zone. It's like doing those last reps when it's agony, but you know it's going to pay off in the long run. So on the other side of the scale, there's pleasure on the inside and pain on the outside. Like, I'm pushing myself for a marathon because I know it's going to feel awesome when I finish. And and then when you do those things outside that push you and stretch you and take you to that next level, you feel even better. You start to feel really good, and you know that you do the compensation, and your muscles are going to grow, and you're going to nurture happier, and you're like, yeah, I can do it. I'm a machine. Like, yeah, let's do this. Rah! Taking off, yeah? So that's where most trainers sit, on that other side of the scale. And the problem, the challenge is that when you're on that side of the scale and your clients are on the entire other side of the scale, they look at you and go, oh, wow, you're amazing. I want to be just like you. But and then they try and force themselves to do all the things that you're telling them to do, or that they see you doing. But it's too much. It's too big a leap for them, like, especially if they're like at that extreme overweight, like I've just started training type of this end of the scale. Clients that have been with you for longer periods of time are more on the other side anyway, so then they're not the ones I'm talking about. But the clients that are just starting with you and are really overweight and really in that negative mindset, trying to get them to do a really extreme, you know, high intensity interval training protocol, or an extreme, you know, intermittent fasting diet, or, you know, some kind of ketogenic type of program, is not, like, it's 100% not the best solution for these people. So, like take a step back, just take a chill pill. Even though they say they want fast results, you're better off taking a slower, longer approach with them that's going to help build some, like, a couple of basic positive strategies for them that's not too hard, that's something that they can feel success with. Like, if you put them on a super strict, hardcore diet, of course they're going to lose weight, like everybody would. Even maybe a guardian, if you like full on starve them and do some hardcore Biggest Loser style train, like, yes, they might get the result at the end of the challenge for that, you know, coveted before and after photo. But the minute that you're not there whipping their ass, or, you know, the week after that program is finished, they're going to go straight back to that old behavior, and they haven't really solved any of the underlying issues that they've come to you to solve. So how you solve that is by lowering your expectations and their expectations about what's possible for them to do initially. So it's not about saying that you can't get that result. It's about stretching out the time frame so that you can build positive habits. So instead of putting them on a hardcore kind of program, you like, and this being this kind of all or nothing, like I'm fat and hating myself and eating custard pies every night, or I'm, you know, super slim and ripped and, you know, doing burpees every day. Like, they're not one end of the other. There's a graduation of from one point to the other. And so you want to get them a little bit healthier, just a little bit healthier, and feeling a little bit better about themselves, and a little bit better about themselves, and a little bit better. And the more you can break that down into a series of steps and a series of habits that they can change and feel success with, then the more they're going to start to feel good. Because when they try and willpower themselves to do everything perfectly, but they're still feeling fat and frumpy and hating themselves, then there's too much pain. They're like forcing themselves to do the pain on the outside, but they're not getting the payoff of the internal pleasure. They're still feeling bad about themselves and just forcing themselves to do it. And that's like just setting them up for a blowout. But if you break it down to smaller habits, like, okay, I just want you to what would be the next step for you? And it might be, okay, I need to drink water or herbal tea instead of soft drink. And you go, okay, don't change anything else, just do that. Like, just come and see me for my sessions and just do that. We're not even going to talk about your food today. We're just going to focus for the next couple of weeks on getting you drinking water and herbal tea, and just come and see me for your sessions. And if you can build that success into, like, for them to start to feel, oh yeah, I can do this. I actually can do this. I can make this change. Then that creates a positive feedback loop that then when you say, okay, now you've got your, now you've cut out your soft drink, let's work on the next thing. Let's talk about breakfast. How are you going with breakfast? And so then the next thing becomes breakfast or lunch or whatever it is. Do a stretch in the morning when you wake up, depending on, whatever type of training you do. And the more you can break it down into small changes, the less likely they are to be overtaken by cravings, the less likely they are to, revert back to those old behaviors, because instead of putting them on a diet, you're actually changing their version of normal. So that's the ultimate goal. You want to change their normal. And if their normal is having soft drink and fries and, KFC and stuff, that's a problem. And putting them on diets where they're doing extreme clean eating, Ashy Bines, whatever it is, or Michelle Bridges straight away, it's not going to last, right? And you guys already know, I'm pretty sure I'm preaching to the converted here, but just so you can understand the psychology behind why that doesn't work. The reason why it doesn't work is because it's too much, too fast, and it's not instilling pleasure and success in their mindset. And the more you can break it down and like be a point of, for you guys being intelligent trainers, having that point of difference and saying, hey, I'm not going to put you on some full-on strict, get ripped in 20 days program, because that's not going to serve you. That's not going to be the best thing for you. Like, if it's a different type of client, that's a different story. If they're already starting on the other end of the scale, it's a totally different story. Get ripped in 20 days. But for those clients that are really starting out and struggling, that's not the best thing for them. And so you can really make that a point of difference and build that care into your program and say, hey, we want to build success. We want to build this lifetime goal. And, this isn't a 90-day program. This is a 12-month program. And if you commit to me, I'll commit to you, and we'll get there and we'll change your normal so that you never go back. And that's a really compelling proposition. And, for people that struggle with emotional eating, to have a trainer that understands that and can talk in that way to them, like, you're on a winner.
Yeah, 100% agree. And it all comes down to, I guess, the expectations that the trainer sets with the client as well. If they're set up where it's like a 28-day challenge or something, that can be a starting point. But then if it's framed like that's how we get them in the door, but your goal is going to take the next 12 months to achieve, it's going to take all of this time to be able to change your habits, to create your new normal in terms of the things that they're currently doing, to which are going to be much more optimal choices in terms of their food, training, nutrition, mindset, all of these things as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us today and sharing your knowledge, mindset, NLP, everything like that. Where's the best place for people to be able to get in contact with you?
Yeah, sure. If you've liked what we've talked about today, then check out mymindcoach.com.au, mymindcoach.com.au on the internet, or you can check me out on Facebook as well. My Mind Coach is on Facebook and Instagram as well. I've got a whole bunch of programs that I've done for clients that could be a good addition to the type of work that you're already doing with your clients. So it could be a good resource for clients when you just, you want to just give them some extra support. So I've got like over 300, 400 articles on my blog that you could look through and, share with your clients on Facebooks and Instagrams and that type of thing. There's some really great free resources in my blog that you could just share with your clients. And I also train personal trainers and coaches and people that want to learn more about mindset and really master it. I train people how to be coaches, how to be NLP practitioners. So I've got a 6-month coach certification training that I run as well. So if you're keen to find out about that, then get in touch and we can have a chat about it.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's massively important to, I guess, share your skills and your knowledge with other trainers out there, because it's a very overlooked factor in terms of their current skill set, in terms of personal trainers and how they're interacting with clients. So it's awesome to be able to have you on the interview today. So thanks again.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me. Thanks everyone for watching. Appreciate it.